Hi, it was a real delight to be singing together this morning behind a mask, but to be together, to worship God together, to fellowship together. It was a real treat. I'd highly recommend it. There were at least 2/3 of chairs available this morning. It'd be good to see you there. Thank you to Luke for getting over some technical difficulties. Your video might have frozen at home. It was actually a technical problem at church, but we didn't want to talk about that. John, thank you for anchoring. Beth, of course, and Teresa, thank you for that great time of worship. Now, my burden, I hope you gathered this morning, was really aimed at when we experience this sense of failure, failing Jesus. I certainly have felt that. I felt it during COVID. It's a horrible feeling where you just feel you've let the Lord down and you cannot get through this sense of not connecting with Jesus in the way you should. Particular issues are troubling. And I really wanted in the message today to communicate the journey out of that and the journey into engaging with Jesus and enjoying spiritual success, enjoying being at the center of what Jesus is doing and where he is. And of course, contributing that to the life of the church, where each one of us are an invaluable part of the body of Jesus. So I really sense that I have observed this with friends many, many years ago. We've not addressed the Peter challenge. We've not really understood what the Lord was doing in Peter to bring him out of that. So essentially, I'm concerned for people who disengage during those periods. And being British, of course, we can be really polite about this, but basically we can close ourselves off. And I sense I'm preaching to the converted, because if you're in a home group tonight, you're likely not to be somebody who's shut themselves off. You're coming into fellowship. But I hope then, if you did not relate to this in the message as your own experience, what I've been really hoping and praying is that you would take this on board and take this understanding to pray for those who are in this, or even under God's grace and in his mighty love to approach people and encourage them through what might be for them this very difficult phase of feeling a failure. So there it is. We saw how Peter and the disciples went through this process, beginning with Jesus saying, have another go, put your net down on the other side, which must have seemed so crazy to them. But they did it. And of course, the Lord provided a net break. The nets didn't break, the nets weren't damaged, but that indicates they should have perhaps done. And it went through them enjoying a meal together, being called back into service, being commissioned, and eventually getting to the heart of this, and that is those harbour lights, of seeing those three lights align, the love that we have for Jesus overflowing, and being first and foremost for him, in all the delightful way our heart flows out to him day by day, as we live for him, as we walk with him, and love for Jesus first, love for others, and love for others in a very caring, pastoral, nurturing, building way. And then, of course, last of all, the following. Jesus ending with Peter saying, you must follow me. And I didn't mention this, but it reminds me of that old joy. Joy is Jesus first, others second, yourself last. It's that all over again. But the important thing with this is that Jesus was showing Peter in a magnificent way that, okay, you've really blown it. He didn't go over that, but he took him from that place right the way through to being so engaged with Jesus again that when the Holy Spirit came, God was able to use him mightily. And the book of Acts is just amazing for this. In fact, if you've got time and you're looking for something to read, I'd recommend that you read, is it Luke 22, then John 21, and then go out into the book of Acts and see how Peter is just being available to Jesus all over again. And that in its sense is very moving, from his complete blowing it, complete mess up before Jesus. And boy, did he know it. It broke his heart. It absolutely wrecked him, which again was part of Jesus, allowing Satan to sift him, to wreck him, to be ready for this amazing work in Jesus. So look, I don't want to go over the entire sermon again. I just want to present these questions. 3 ways I thought we could unpick this and benefit from it as a home group. Number 1, what do you think of the Peter Challenge? What do you think of it? Secondly, what does it mean to live out the Peter Challenge? What does it mean to live through it and to enjoy the dimensions of those 3 harbour lights aligning in our life? That's the second thing. The third thing is, how can we help and support others? You know, if this means a lot of sense to us, if we've got reminiscent memories of this happening to us, or even if we just think, no, I'm through on this and it's not something that bothers me. Well, my question to you would be, then how are you going to manage practically and lovingly and supportively and sensitively? How are you going to get alongside your brothers and your sisters in this? Well, I think those questions look very pretty. I think they're very teacher-like questions, very classroom-like. What do you think of the Peter Challenge? What does it mean to live out the Peter Challenge? And thirdly, how can we support others? So that's very neat and proper and clinical. But the real question, and you might want to ditch those and just have this one, I don't know. But the real issue is this. If I do allow Jesus to challenge me with deep penetrating questions that go into my attitudes and into my motives and align me then to Jesus, to him, and bring me from failure to success and stand with Jesus on this new frontier, this new lease of spiritual life with him, how, by aligning those 3 harbour lights, how's that going to work? How am I going to do that to today at work, in the evening with the family, in the work that God has given me to do? How am I going to bring those 3 harbour lights together in his grace and by his love, under his hand? God bless you. God bless you. And I hope to see you soon. I've got to switch it off now. Wait a minute.